Where are you watching from? Let's know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories. The story begins on the outskirts of Denver, Colorado, where the winters bite hard and the nights stretch longer than the days. The woman at the center of our story, Claire Matthews, had grown used to the silence of her small two-bedroom house. She was a widow. Her husband, James, had died suddenly from a heart attack 3 years earlier. Since then, Claire carried the weight of survival on her own. 2 jobs, endless bills, and the dreams of her only child, Daniel, who had just turned 18. Claire lived for her son. She often said, "Daniel, you are the reason I keep breathing." Her voice carried exhaustion, but her eyes always lit up when she spoke of him. Daniel wasn't just an ordinary teenager. He had the raw spark of a footballer, speed, instincts, and an almost spiritual love for the game. He would dribble an old, worn-out ball down cracked sidewalks, imagining himself on the world's greatest stages. His room was filled with posters of Cristiano Ronaldo, his hero, his inspiration, his guiding star. But dreams in America come with price tags. Claire's jobs as a diner waitress and part-time cleaner barely covered groceries, let alone professional training or travel for football trials. She worried Daniel's talent might wither before anyone truly saw it. And Daniel knew this too. Each time he tightened the laces on his scuffed cleats, he whispered, "One day, Mom. Just one day." Then came the message that would change everything. It arrived on a Tuesday night. Claire had just returned from a late shift, her hands raw from scrubbing, her back aching. She opened her laptop to check emails, mostly bills and reminders. But this time, a new subject line blinked in her inbox. Exclusive investment opportunity, your key to freedom. At first, she laughed softly. She thought, but exhaustion and desperation can dull instincts. She clicked. The message was polished, promising. A group calling itself Titan Edge International claimed to offer private access to a cryptocurrency platform that tripled investments in under 6 months. Their website glittered with testimonials, families holding keys to new homes, young men stepping out of luxury cars, mothers smiling with pride. One line snared her heart. Turn small savings into a future for your children. Claire hesitated, scrolling through pictures of men in tailored suits shaking hands, graphs that soared upwards. She thought of Daniel, training alone on a patchy field, of her own body breaking under double shifts. Could this be a way out? She didn't invest right away. Instead, she replied to the email with a single cautious question, "Is this real?" Within an hour, her phone rang. The caller introduced himself as Victor Cole, a smooth-voiced man with just enough warmth to feel trustworthy. He spoke of global markets, of exclusive chances, of being one of the chosen few. And when Claire told him she was just a waitress, he replied gently, "Ma'am, every great journey begins with a single step. You deserve more than the life you've been handed." Those words broke through her defenses. No one had spoken to her like that since James died. She listened, she asked, and she believed. The first investment was small, $500, scraped from tips and a little she had saved for Daniel's birthday. The platform showed immediate gains. Within a week, her balance displayed over 1,000. Excitement flickered in her chest. Victor called often, checking in not just on money, but on her life. He asked about Daniel. He encouraged her, saying, "This isn't just about wealth. It's about giving your boy a chance." By the 3rd week, Claire had invested $3,000. Almost everything she had. And then, the silence began. Her calls went unanswered. The platform froze, balance locked. The website vanished. Panic spread through her veins like ice water. She emailed, texted, begged. No reply. The truth hit her with brutal clarity. She had been scammed. That night, Daniel found her at the kitchen table, head in her hands, shoulders trembling. He had never seen his mother cry like that. She confessed through broken sobs, "I wanted to give you more, Danny. I wanted you to have a real chance." Daniel knelt beside her, holding her tightly. "Mom, it's just money. You've already given me everything." But even as he spoke, Claire felt the crushing guilt of betrayal, betrayed by the underworld scammers, betrayed by her own hope. From that day, shadows entered their home. Claire carried her pain quietly, but the light in her eyes dimmed. She worked, she smiled when needed, but inside, she was hollow. Daniel trained harder, trying to outrun the helplessness, but the weight of their broken dream pressed on both of them. Weeks later, a friend from the diner convinced Claire to attend a local fundraiser gala in Denver. She resisted at first. She had nothing to wear, no money to spare. But the friend insisted, "Come, Claire. It's just one night away from everything." She borrowed a simple black dress and went, feeling out of place among the glittering gowns and tailored suits. The ballroom was alive with music, laughter, and the scent of wealth. Claire stood quietly near the back, sipping water, when the room suddenly shifted. Gasps, murmurs, cameras flashing. A figure entered, magnetic and unmistakable. Cristiano Ronaldo. Claire froze. She had seen him 1,000 times on posters, on TV, in Daniel's eyes when he played. But here he was, in flesh and blood, walking with calm grace through the crowd. Her heart raced. This was Daniel's hero. His dream. The man who embodied everything she had hoped to give her son. She wanted to say something, anything. But what could a widow with empty pockets say to the greatest footballer alive? Ronaldo greeted guests, shook hands, posed for photos. Then, as if fate had guided him, he turned and his eyes met hers. He smiled. Genuine. And in that moment, Claire felt something she hadn't in years seen. He approached, extending a hand. "Boa noite," he said softly, then in perfect English, "Good evening. You look thoughtful tonight." Claire stammered, words tangled, but Ronaldo's presence carried patience. He asked her name, her story, and she told him, hesitant at first, then spilling everything. The scam, the money lost, the son who dreamed of football, the nights she spent praying for a miracle. Ronaldo listened, truly listened. His brow furrowed in empathy, his eyes steady. When she finished, ashamed of her own tears, he placed a hand over hers. "Claire," he said, voice calm but firm, "life tests us in cruel ways. But sometimes, when doors close, others open. Tell me about Daniel." Her voice shook as she described her boy's passion, his talent, his endless devotion to football despite their poverty. She showed him a photo on her phone, Daniel, sweaty from a match, smiling wide, wearing a faded Ronaldo jersey. Ronaldo studied the image for a long moment. Then he looked back at her with a glimmer that was almost fatherly. "Bring him to me tomorrow," he said. "I want to see this boy with my own eyes." Claire could barely breathe. "You mean it?" He smiled. "A mother's love like yours, it deserves to be answered." That night, Claire returned home trembling, tears streaming, clutching hope for the first time in years. Daniel listened in stunned silence as she recounted every detail. "Mom, are you serious? Ronaldo? The Ronaldo?" Her eyes shone as she whispered, "Yes, Danny. Tomorrow your life might change." The next morning felt unreal, as if Claire had woken into someone else's life. She had barely slept, her mind racing with what Ronaldo had said. Could it be true? Could a single meeting rewrite her son's future? She brewed coffee with trembling hands, then called Daniel into the kitchen. He appeared half-dressed for school, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "What's wrong, Mom? You look like you're about to pass out." Claire tried to steady herself. "Daniel, last night I met Cristiano Ronaldo." Daniel blinked. Then he laughed, certain she was joking. "Yeah, sure, and I had dinner with Batman." "I'm serious." She pulled out her phone, showing him the photo she had snapped at the gala, Ronaldo, smiling beside her, his arm gently resting across her shoulders. Daniel's mouth fell open. His idol, the man he had worshipped since childhood, was standing right there beside his mom. "No way," Daniel whispered. He touched the screen as if it might dissolve. "He wants to meet you," Claire said softly. "Today." The boy stared at her, stunned into silence. Then emotion surged, fear, disbelief, joy. He laughed and cried at once, grabbing his head with both hands. "Mom, I'm not ready. I don't even have proper boots. What if I mess up? What if he thinks I'm—" Claire cupped his face. "Daniel, listen to me. You're ready. You've been ready your whole life. By late morning, they were on a bus heading downtown, Daniel clutching his beat-up cleats in a grocery bag, Claire holding his hand like he was 5 years old again. Every bump in the road felt like a heartbeat. At the hotel where Ronaldo was staying, security was tight. Guests whispered, cameras clicked. Claire approached the desk nervously, gave her name. To her shock, the receptionist smiled warmly. "Mr. Ronaldo is expecting you. Right this way." They were escorted to a private training pitch rented exclusively for him. The moment Daniel stepped onto the grass, his breath caught. The turf was flawless, greener than anything he had ever played on. At the far end stood Cristiano Ronaldo, already dressed in training gear, juggling a ball effortlessly. Daniel froze, his heart thundering. Ronaldo looked up and smiled. "Daniel." His voice carried across the field, steady and warm. "Come here, my friend." Daniel walked forward slowly, his knees weak, as if gravity itself had doubled. When he reached him, Ronaldo extended a hand. "I hear you love football." Daniel shook it, stammering, "Yes, sir, more than anything." "Good," Ronaldo said. "Show me." He tossed the ball toward him with a flick. Daniel's instincts took over. He trapped it with his chest, rolled it to his foot, and dribbled forward. He moved nervously at first, but soon muscle memory pushed aside fear. He darted, turned, flicked the ball into a run. Ronaldo watched, arms folded, eyes sharp. Again, Ronaldo commanded, passing harder. Daniel controlled it, pushed forward, struck a shot toward the empty net. It swerved wide. He groaned. But Ronaldo laughed. "Don't worry. Even I miss sometimes. What matters is how you recover." For the next 30 minutes, Ronaldo tested him. Short passes, headers, sprints. Sweat poured down Daniel's face, but determination burned brighter. He refused to stop, refused to fail. When his legs wobbled, he pushed harder. Finally, Ronaldo blew a whistle and called him over. "You have heart," he said. "Talent too. But heart is rarer." He glanced at Claire, who was watching from the sidelines, tears streaming down her face. "Your mother's love brought you here. That's power." Daniel swallowed hard, his chest heaving. Does that mean?" Ronaldo laid a hand on his shoulder. "It means I see potential. I can't promise you the world, Daniel, but I can open a door." Claire covered her mouth, unable to breathe. Ronaldo continued. "I have contacts with youth clubs in Portugal. I can arrange for you to train with them, see where you stand among others your age. But it won't be easy. You'll leave your home. You'll work harder than ever. Do you want this?" Daniel didn't hesitate. "Yes." His voice cracked but carried certainty. "Yes, I'll do whatever it takes." Ronaldo smiled, that iconic smile Daniel had seen 1,000 times on posters, now directed at him. "Good. Then we begin." Claire ran onto the field, embracing her son. "You did it, Danny. You really did it." She turned to Ronaldo, tears flowing freely. "Thank you. You don't know what this means." Ronaldo's expression softened. "Claire, I know loss. I know what it means to want a better life for your family. Sometimes all it takes is one chance. I am simply giving back what football once gave me." For the first time since James's death, Claire felt light enter her heart. But the world has a cruel way of testing joy. That night, as Claire prepared dinner, her phone buzzed. A new message. "Unknown number. You think he can save you? We remember you, Claire. And will come for more." Her blood ran cold. She dropped the phone, her body trembling. The underworld scammers hadn't forgotten her. Someone was watching. She looked at Daniel, still glowing from the day's miracle, and forced a smile to hide her terror. But inside, fear clawed at her. Would this gift from Ronaldo be enough to protect them from the shadows still lurking? The flight to Portugal was the longest day of Claire's life. She sat by the window, clutching Daniel's hand so tightly he could barely move his fingers. Outside, clouds stretched endless and white, but inside, her heart swung between joy and terror. Her son was stepping into a new life, a chance dreamed of by millions. Yet Claire couldn't forget the chilling message that had appeared on her phone. The scammers hadn't vanished. They were still watching. Daniel, however, was restless with excitement. He pressed his forehead against the window, whispering, "Portugal? Mom, can you believe it? Ronaldo's country. His clubs. His people. This is where it all starts." His eyes gleamed like fire. For the first time since his father's death, Claire saw her boy smile without shadows. When they landed in Lisbon, the air felt different, salty, warm, alive with the echoes of football history. They were met by one of Ronaldo's close aides, who drove them through winding streets lined with tiled buildings and cafes spilling laughter. At last, they reached a training complex on the outskirts of the city. The pitch glowed under afternoon sun, perfect and endless. Daniel stepped out of the car, his cleats in hand, and inhaled deeply. "This is it," he whispered. Ronaldo arrived shortly after, wearing training gear, surrounded by coaches. The other players, young and fierce, already looked at Daniel with curiosity. Some smirked. An American kid, handpicked by Ronaldo himself? The pressure was immediate. "Daniel," Ronaldo said firmly, "this is your first test. Forget where you came from, forget who brought you. Here, only your feet will speak." Training was brutal. The pace faster than anything Daniel had known. Every pass mattered, every mistake was punished with glares or laughter from rivals. His chest burned, his legs ached. But whenever he faltered, he remembered Ronaldo's words, "What matters is how you recover." And he recovered, again and again. At one point, an older player shoved him hard, sneering, "Go back to America." Daniel fell, grass in his mouth, lungs screaming. But instead of breaking, he rose faster, tackled harder, and stole the ball back with fire. Ronaldo, watching from the sideline, nodded silently. By the end of the session, Daniel collapsed onto the turf, sweat pouring, heart pounding. Ronaldo approached, crouched beside him, and whispered, "Good. You belong here." Claire watched from the stands, tears spilling. Her boy was being forged in fire, and thriving. That night, in their modest Lisbon apartment arranged by Ronaldo's foundation, Daniel slept like the dead, dreams filled with stadiums and roaring crowds. Claire, however, couldn't sleep. She sat by the window, scrolling her phone. Another message had arrived. "He won't last. Boys like him get eaten alive. Unless you pay us." Her stomach knotted. She wanted to throw the phone into the street, pretend the world outside their joy didn't exist. But the past clung like chains. She didn't tell Daniel. How could she ruin the miracle he had just begun living? Instead, she typed a shaky reply, "Leave us alone. I have nothing more to give." The response came instantly. "Then we'll take what matters." Claire slammed the phone shut, heart pounding. Fear crawled into her bones. She checked the locks twice, sat awake until dawn, guarding her son's dreams with nothing but her trembling resolve. Days turned into weeks. Daniel's talent bloomed. His speed, his hunger, his resilience set him apart. Scouts began murmuring. Coaches nodded with approval. His name appeared in whispers across training grounds. One evening, after practice, Ronaldo invited Daniel and Claire to dinner at a quiet seaside villa. The table was simple but warm, filled with Portuguese dishes and laughter. For the first time, Claire felt safe. Ronaldo looked across the table at Daniel. "You remind me of myself when I was your age. Hungry, brave, unafraid of pain. That's good, but talent without discipline is wasted." Daniel nodded eagerly. "I'll work harder than anyone. I promise." Ronaldo smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I believe you, and I'll be here to guide you. Football gave me everything. Now I'll help you take your chance." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "Ronaldo, I don't have words. You've given us hope after so much darkness." He met her gaze softly. "Claire, sometimes the smallest kindness can change generations. You are strong because you endured. Daniel is strong because you believed. Now it's my turn to believe in both of you." It felt like family, like healing, like the universe had finally bent in their favor. But outside, in the shadows beyond the villa's lights, a black car sat parked. Inside, two men watched through tinted glass, faces hidden. One tapped a message into his phone. "She thinks she's safe. She's not." The underworld had followed her across an ocean. Daniel's first Real test came on a warm Saturday afternoon. The Lisbon Academy was hosting a showcase match against a rival youth squad, with scouts watching from the stands. For days, Daniel had trained like a man possessed. He woke before dawn, ran sprints along the Tagus River, and studied tapes Ronaldo personally gave him. Yet as the match approached, nerves clawed at him. Claire sat in the bleachers, her hands clasped tightly, whispering silent prayers. Ronaldo joined her briefly before kickoff, calm and composed as always. "He'll be fine," he said gently. "Trust him." When the whistle blew, Daniel's heart raced so loudly he could barely hear the crowd. At first, he stumbled, misplacing a pass, colliding with an opponent, drawing laughter from the stands. Doubt rose like smoke. Maybe he didn't belong here after all. But then he remembered Ronaldo's words, "What matters is how you recover." Midway through the first half, the ball broke loose at midfield. Daniel sprinted, muscles burning, and stole it clean from an older player. With instinct, he darted forward, weaving past defenders, his breath ragged but steady. Near the edge of the box, he struck a fierce, curling shot that soared past the goalkeeper into the top corner. Silence. Then eruption. The crowd roared. Coaches leapt to their feet. Daniel dropped to his knees, arms raised, tears stinging his eyes. He had scored. In front of scouts. In Portugal. Claire cried openly, clutching her chest as if it might burst. Ronaldo stood, applauding with a proud smile, his eyes shining with the kind of joy only a mentor can feel. By full time, Daniel had scored twice and assisted once. The whispers among scouts grew louder. A star was emerging. That night, back at their apartment, Claire held Daniel close. "Your father would be so proud," she whispered. Daniel hugged her tightly, whispering back, "It's because of you, Mom. And Ronaldo. You both believed in me." For the first time in years, their home felt full of light. But shadows do not fade easily. As Claire prepared for bed, her phone buzzed. Another message. "We saw the game. He's valuable now. Yours. Pay or he pays." Her knees buckled. She stared at the screen, her vision swimming. They weren't bluffing. They had followed them all the way here. And now they were circling Daniel. She didn't tell him. She couldn't. Instead, she forwarded the message to Ronaldo with shaking hands. Within minutes, her phone rang. "Claire," Ronaldo's voice was firm, steady. "Listen to me. You are not alone. These people feed on fear. We will handle this. Trust me." Tears slid down her face. "I can't lose him, Cristiano. I can't lose my boy." "You won't," Ronaldo said. "Not while I have a breath in my body." The next day, Ronaldo arrived at training early, pulling Daniel aside privately. "Daniel, football is not only about what happens on the field. There will be pressure, enemies, people who want to use you. But you must stay focused. Let me and your mother worry about the rest. Your job is to play. Understand?" Daniel nodded, though confusion clouded his eyes. That evening, Ronaldo invited Claire and Daniel to his villa once more. He sat them down, his tone softer but weighted with purpose. "Daniel, you are special. I've seen many players, but few with your fire. You will go far if you stay disciplined. And Claire, your strength brought him here. From now on you are family. And family protects each other." Claire couldn't speak. Gratitude flooded her, too large for words. They shared dinner, laughter, stories of Ronaldo's childhood in Madeira. For a moment, it felt like the danger outside couldn't reach them. But as they left the villa, Claire noticed headlights in the distance. A car idling. Watching. The world had given them a gift in Ronaldo, but the underworld had not finished with them yet. The widow who lost everything to scammers had found hope in the unlikeliest of places, a football legend who opened a door for her son. Daniel's journey was only beginning, his talent already drawing eyes across Europe. But in the shadows, danger stalked them still. Would Ronaldo's gift be enough to shield them from the ghosts of the past? Or would the same underworld that stole Claire's savings now try to steal her son's future? One chapter had closed, but another, darker one, was about to begin.